call us to order at 6 o'clock, and we are all here, so we have a quorum. If y'all will stand and join us in prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, I'm just so thankful for you and thankful for this day, Lord. I just ask that you be with us as we make the best decisions possible for this district. I ask that you be with the students and the staff and faculty, Lord, and keep them all in good health and safe. I just ask that you watch over us and lead us in every decision we make. In Jesus' holy and precious name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. Okay, we do not have anything for open forum, so I see lots of faces, so I'm assuming y'all have guests. They didn't just come for the exciting meeting. So, Mrs. Searles, do you want to go first?
Sure. Alrighty, we have 3 members of the 5 of our kindness team on our campus. And Bryn Hayes in the middle, we have Hadley Smith, and we have Reagan Hardy. And then the other 2 missing are Serenity Welch and Brendan Connor. Bryn had an idea about coming up with something to help make our school more kind, and so they're going to tell you about it.
Kindness is something that is very important to me. Our world needs more of it, so I came up with an awesome idea to start a kindness team and a ticket challenge at Sanford Fridge Elementary. The ticket challenge started Monday, January 10th, and will continue through the remainder of the year. Each grade level was given tickets per 6 weeks. Teachers fill the grade level container with tickets when they see or hear about kindness being shared among the students.
The grade level that has the most tickets by the end of the 6 weeks receives a popcorn party because they are popping with kindness. We go around weekly on Thursdays, each grade level to count the tickets. We give Miss Wiggins our totals so she can type it all up. Then we report the totals every Friday on the morning announcements.
Miss Wiggins has made up posters to hang on the school that we update weekly, so students can be reminded who is winning. Hopefully, this will motivate all the students to
Share the love.
So they do, and the kids have a poster in the hallway, and they do come up to it when they walk in the school, and they see the totals of who's winning, and these girls are in charge of keeping track of tickets and announcing that and trying to promote kindness. They make posters through the school too. They're promoting kindness, and so we're going to do that the rest of the year.
That's great.
That's
great. Okay, Mr. Pearson, do you have guests?
Yes, ma'am. We got Ms. Freeman and Mr. Seaberg here. Come on up. This was part of their 6th grade bottle biography project. And all the 6th graders did this for part of their semester test that they ended up doing. And this is now the first time we've had a chance to have these guys actually present. Mr. Seaberg is going to end up doing his presentation to give you an idea of what all the students ended up doing.
So this was my bottle project. I did it over Martin Luther King Jr. Everyone did their own unique bottle, and we all got it from a book at the library. And so I wrote a little essay to tell y'all how it was kind of like. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was one of the most influential characters to lead the fight to end segregation. He faced many challenges along the way, but his drive, dedication to his cause prevailed. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929. He grew up in a brick house in the city on Auburn Avenue. During his adolescent years, he played basketball with his friends, loved a good soul food meal from his grandma, and questioned segregation. He often wondered why he had to sit at the back of the bus, sometimes having to stand because the bus was crowded, and why he had to use different bathrooms and water fountains than white children, he got the same answer: because he is colored. He wanted to change it, but didn't know how. After graduating high school at the age of 15, Martin Luther King Jr. entered Morehouse College in Atlanta. From there, he enrolled in Crozer Theological Seminary in Chester, Pennsylvania. While at Crozer, he learned of Mohandas Gandhi, read about writings from Henry David Thoreau, and studied words from Jesus and other holy leaders. After he finished Crozer Seminary in 1951, he attended Boston University, where he received his doctorate in theology. Once Martin Luther King Jr. completed his education, he became a preacher and wed Cora Scott King after their first date. During the course of his 17-year profession, Martin Luther King Jr. protested peacefully to try and get equal rights for colored people. He held bus rallies, led peaceful protests, and orchestrated meetings. Although King's movements were nonviolent, he was arrested 29 times and almost murdered by a woman in a bookstore. It was also during this time Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his notorious "I Have a Dream" speech at the age of 33 and was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize shortly after. 5 years later, he was assassinated on a hotel balcony in Memphis, Tennessee by escaped convict James Earl Ray on April 4, 1968. Martin Luther King Jr. played a vital role in the civil rights movement. Because of him, today there is more equality. This is the reason I chose him. He worked for the right thing and never gave up. He also inspired me because his actions support the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated.
Here's my biography project.
Cindy really didn't want to talk, she just came here. They did a great job, they worked hard on this. There's a ton of good ones. So they did an excellent job. So I just want to make sure they got some recognition for it.
Yeah, that's what it sounds good.
There's Mrs. Ray right
Oh,
back.
okay. There you are. I was like, yeah, there you are.
We have the state qualifiers for BPA with us, and our president, Kimberly Charlton, and then Daly Ringo, which both of them are also Torch Award winners for local and regional. And they wanted to, instead of me talking, they wanted to talk about what's going on. Okay.
So, first of all, I just want to tell you guys that I'm so excited to have this opportunity, and I'm very thankful that you guys gave us this opportunity to compete and to go to state. And so, thank you for that. And there are just overall positive experiences that come from BPA. Not only do we have friendship, teamwork, organization, those are all valuable skills that we learn. All through competing with other schools. Competing, you wouldn't think that you'd make friends through that, but you do with BPA. It's a wonderful thing, and it really progresses people mentally, and it helps us a lot. And not only do we compete, we also do community service, and we help out our community a lot. We got stuff for the shelter, not the shelter, the nursing home. Yeah, the nursing home. We got blankets and all that for the nursing home, and the BPA has gotten together a project to paint the school locker rooms. We got the principal and the athletic director all to help the school and make it better. And so, one of the examples of a way that BPA has helped us, Miss Gray actually told me this story. She told me this story. So there was a boy that wasn't very popular, and he didn't have any friends, but he won first place in his event. And so he got up on the stage, and he was in complete awe that he won his event. And everyone from Fritch got up and started cheering for him. They were clapping really loudly, they were yelling, they were so proud of him, and that day he made a lot of friends. And that's just one of the examples of how BPA can really help people make friends and just have a better life overall. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for giving us that opportunity. We appreciate it. All right, here with us today is many of those people who made those opportunities available. These are most of our state qualifiers. A couple weren't able to attend because of work and they were at the sports events, but I'd like for everybody to stand up and step out whenever I announce your name in your event. So, all right, first off is Caleb Stein in database applications. Next off is the first administrative support team, which consists of Ashley Bass, me, Ava Noble, and also Caleb Stein. Also, I'd like to introduce Coley Floor, who qualified in device configuration and troubleshooting. I'd like to introduce Dustin Bowling, who qualified in computer security. Jordan McNutt in Linux operating system fundamentals. Madison Harris in fundamental desktop publishing. And the animation team that consists of Luther Estridge, Caitlin Harris, and Madison Harris. All right, in fundamental accounting, we have Alex Satterwhite. In advanced word processing, we have Isaac Silvey. In fundamental spreadsheet applications, we have Daily Ringo. We have our second administrative support team, which consists of Zoe Deathridge, Daily Ringo, Isaac Silvey, and Jacob Vandergrift. I'd like to introduce Jacob Vandergrift again in Linux operating system fundamentals. I'd like to introduce Zoe Deathridge for fundamental desktop publishing. Our video production team, which consists of Brookman, Taylorman, Alex Satterwhite, and Audrey Schultz. And Angel Shank in medical diagnostic coding. Alright, thank you guys so much for attending, and this is just some of our people who are able to qualify for state this year.
That's great. Can we get, on the UIL, can we get y'all to line up here so Tara can get a picture of y'all, please? BPA, sorry. Oh, UIL, BPA, yeah. I'm confused with
Richard Berger. Okay. We're gonna have to go.
and then somebody else. We got a stretch in.
All right, ready? Stand up straight. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna thank y'all. And then,
All right, ready, guys? Here we go. Thank you.
and
Yeah, I think.
do you want to do your bottle? Yeah, go grab your bottle before you do it.
So, oh, this is historical. All right. Y'all ready? Thank you.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.
Are
you good?
I'll get it on paper.
I've done that before. Well, we thank y'all very, very much for coming. We really appreciate it. If you want to stay and listen to the rest of the meeting, you're welcome to. If you would like to go home and eat supper or whatever, you're more than welcome to leave.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate
She can milk it for when it's hard. I would already.
It's coming. Well, they didn't say.
It's funny though. Okay, so we're going to go to the consent agenda. And does anybody have anything they want to pull out of the consent agenda? If not, we need a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda, items 1 through 3.
Okay, I have a motion from Doug. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Logan. All in favor? No opposed, motion carries. I would like to say that part of that was we're approving a donation from Pentex Federal Credit Union for the Pentex relays and another donation for boys basketball. We sure appreciate that. And on the regular agenda for the calendar, Mr. Garrison.
Yes, ma'am. This is a calendar I met with the District Advisory Committee, and they met with the individuals on their campuses, and we came together with this proposed calendar. It's very similar to the one we had this year. We go a couple days longer as far as school. We start a day or two earlier, but it's very similar to the one we did this year.
And correct me if we're wrong, if I'm wrong, but for the newer members, we just approve these, right? We don't ever make changes or anything because it goes to the committees.
Right, the committees, this is what, honestly, they were concerned with. Of course, the week of Thanksgiving and getting the break at Christmas and spring break and that, and so we've worked those in. And then also, what we went ahead and did with this calendar is we designated nights for Meet the Teacher already at the beginning of school, which is August 11th. We put a night in for parent-teacher conferences or a day in January 9th. And the difference, one of the differences is we're ending the first semester before Christmas with this calendar. They thought the teachers thought that was important because, you know, if you look, we're going to be off about 2.5 weeks of Christmas, the way Christmas falls, and they wanted to go ahead and get first semester tests and all that done before Christmas, so that was a big push that they wanted, and so we got that done. And really, if you look at the days in the semester, they're about equal. I mean, most of them are around 28, 29 days, so it actually evened out pretty good in this calendar. So,
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, so I need a motion.
I move to approve the calendar for the 2022-2023 school year.
I have a motion by Rusty. Do I have a second? Second from Chad. All in favor? No opposed, motion carries. All right, and Mr. Garrison?
okay, this is just, if you remember back in, I believe it was August, and it might have been September, one of those, we looked at our return to in-person instruction plan. It was approved at that time.
we have to review it every 6 months. And so really the only changes to the plan was the staff now can return after 5 days from the time they test positive, or if they, well, let me rephrase that. If they have no symptoms, then they can return from 5 days from the time they test positive. If they have symptoms and then they test positive, they can return 5 days from the first day they had symptoms. And so other than that, they did not change, DSHA did not change the rule for students. It's still 10 days for them. And so none of that changed, it just changed for the staff. So basically it's the same plan except for the changes for the staff.
And just for people know, because I know we always get a lot of questions, the students and teachers go by 2 different rules because...
one is the DSHS is the who governs the students, and then the CDC is what the staff goes by. Am I correct in saying that? Someone?
I would say TEA and for the staff, yeah.
Okay.
And TEA goes by CDC.
And TEA goes by CDC.
And that is state regulated, not Sanford Fritz regulated.
Right.
That's kind of what I wanted up there.
Yeah.
It's
right.
Not
These aren't our rules.
It's not our rules. It's the state rules. And because I've had questions even why 2 different. You know,
right.
And I know y'all have.
We questioned it.
Yeah, we always question it. Why is there 2? But it's not up to us. So okay. Does anybody have anything else? All right. We need a motion.
I move to approve the return to the in-person instruction plan.
Okay. We have a motion by Doug. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mike. All in favor? No opposed? Motion carries. All right, and the election resolution.
Yes, ma'am. This is just the resolution so we can have a joint election with the cities of Fritch and Sanford. With this, if you remember, this was on our last agenda, but Sanford had contacted us and asked to be a part of it as well. So we added them into it. So this is just a resolution to have the joint election with them in May.
Okay. I have a motion.
I move to approve the resolution of joint election with the cities of Fritch and Sanford.
Okay, I have a motion by Chad. Do I have a second? Second from Rusty. All in favor? No opposed. Motion carries. And the order calling trustee election.
Yes, ma'am. This is just the order, like you said, calling the trustee election. There are 3 at-large school trustees, open places 1, 2, and 3, and that's just an order calling the election.
There you go, Rob.
So I need a motion.
I move to approve the order calling trustee election.
I have a motion from Doug. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from, is that you, Billy? And all in favor? No opposed, motion carries. All right, budget amendment. Mr. Hahn, is that you?
It is. If you remember, I previously talked to you about the appraisal district had reached a settlement with DCP on a suit that they had about the valuations of their items. I don't remember the generators or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But and we didn't have a total of what exactly our payment was going to be. We now know our payment is going to be just slightly under $55,000. So we do not have that money budgeted. So we need to amend the budget so that we can pay that settlement. Which this is actually less than what Joe and I had originally talked that he thought we were going to be doing. It was about somewhere around $13,000, $14,000 a year of difference in tax value. Now, the good thing about this is that we've also sent this information on to our tax attorneys, Purdue, Brandon, Mott. There's one more name in there. I've added another partner. I can't remember the other one. And they will do an appeal to TEA to our past property values and say, hey, our property values changed, and we'll get the majority of this money back. They'll once they do the appeal, then they'll show that, you know, our property value decreased by this amount each of these years. And then TEA will add it on to our current financing. So eventually, probably next year if I was betting man, but you never know, they might get it done this year. We'll get most of it back. But we do have to pay the money back to DCP right now. Actually, we'll pay it to the county, because the county will collect it from all the taxing entities, and then the county will write the check to DCP.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the budget amendment for the, for the budget amendment for the 2021-2022 budget.
Okay, I have a motion from Billy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Doug. All in favor? No opposed, motion carries. Okay. Now,
Yes, ma'am, this is just an order calling for the bond election for May.
okay, does anybody have any discussion or any questions? For the workshop, Doug, do you want to kind of tell the ones that weren't here maybe? For our workshop, kind of what we talked about?
Just the amount and
Yeah,
kind of
that's
what
kind
it
of
was.
what we said.
$4 million. Mainly, the majority of that money is going to be for the upgrade or the fixing of the elementary school. So that's going to be the majority of it. Playgrounds, the playground for the elementary school, and the playground for the middle school. So, and if we end up with any left over, we can pay ourselves back with that or whatever. So, that's pretty much
Previous contract.
yes, for the construction that was already done, for the damage.
Y'all have any questions for the ones that weren't here? I mean, it's just kind of, like you said, we lowered it a little bit and took a few things off, and we're just trying to get the elementary put back together. And then the playgrounds. The playgrounds are not ADA, and that's been something that's really weighing on everybody's hearts that we need to get done. So that's kind of where we left it. But we can get y'all some paperwork if y'all need it when we get that. So if nobody has any questions, we can, I need a motion.
Move to approve an order calling a bond election.
Okay, have a motion by Doug. Have a second.
Second.
Second from Logan. All in favor? No opposed, motion carries. And this will be in May, correct?
Well, early election will be that last week of April.
The last week of April, okay. So it's not in with this one coming up.
And
It's
the meet and greet up here about it, when was that?
The what?
The town halls and
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Oh.
We hadn't decided
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we'll set the dates, I'm not sure. Okay, and, Mr. Hahn, this is you,
Sort of. We have a gentleman from Hilltop Securities here to give you a presentation about this. We've been in discussion with them for a couple years now about refinancing the 2014 bonds to take advantage of the lower interest rates. And so I'll let you go ahead and take it from there.
Well, good evening to the board. Eric Maha with Hilltop, and I believe each of you might have a copy of the presentation, but it's also on the screen here. So, we serve as financial advisor to the school district, and one of our roles is to look for opportunities to refinance debt, refund bonds. And last time we were out was back in 2014 when you all sold those bonds, and those bonds actually become callable starting in 2024. But given where interest rates are right now, there's an opportunity to possibly lock in those rates and save some by refinancing. And so really the mechanics of it, the item before the board this evening is an order. And in that order, the board would be delegating authority to Superintendent Ms. Garrison or business manager the ability to finalize the transaction within a 6-month window. That parameter is good for 6 months. And as a board, you would set parameters as long as those parameters are met. And we have a list here in the document. Then those two individuals could proceed with the refunding in the future. I mean, if interest rates were to rise and we will not save any money, then we just continue to watch and monitor, waiting on interest rates. So. And I can talk through some of the numbers on page 1. We put together some information on the existing bonds themselves. As mentioned, they were sold back in 2014. The district issued $7.9 million. There's a little over $7 million left right now. And then starting in 2024, there's $5.7 million that would be eligible to be refinanced. So we can start that in 2024. Since we would be in advance of that 24 call date, since we have to wait till 2024, the new bonds would have to be taxable, and which basically means the interest rates on the new bonds would be higher than tax-exempt rates. But even now, in today's market, we're at historically low levels. I think you're all hearing and seeing that we're starting to rise, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to bring it to the board this evening, because we may get a few months out from now and rates would have risen and this opportunity may go away. So we thought it was just a good opportunity to come in and possibly lock in some savings there. On the bottom of page 1, the estimated new rate on the new bonds is around 2.74%, and that's paying off bonds that are currently at 3.75 to 4%. So there's a little over 1% savings with that. Page 2, we had some information on the parameter process itself. By state law, the parameters are defined. You can see them listed towards the middle of page 2. Really, it just gives the most flexibility. The other method we use to sell bonds, we would align the pricing and the fixing of interest rate in conjunction with the school board meeting date, and so we'd be subject to market on that particular date. With the parameter, like I said, for that 6-month window, we can watch interest rates and get in at the opportune time. So it gives the most flexibility. Probably 95% of the refinancings or refundings done in state are through the parameter method. It gives us the ability to watch it. Page 3, these are the terms that are actually drafted into the order before the board this evening. You can see the parameters listed, maximum interest rate, the pricing officer, superintendent business manager. Probably the most important parameter is that minimum level of savings that the district and the board would like to achieve. If interest rates were to rise and push us below that minimum, then the bonds could not be sold. As long as we save more than that minimum, then we can move forward. So, and then another important parameter, you'll see it listed, there's no extension of the debt. So the new payments would not be longer than the current payments. We keep the same term, just at a lower interest rate. So. Page 4, a snapshot of the estimated savings. On the left-hand side, I guess that's darker blue section, we have the existing payments and then the projected payments at today's interest rates. You can see where it says gross savings, a little under $20,000 a year, and so a little over $316,000 in total based on current interest rates. And then just hypothetically on the right-hand side, in the lighter blue box, we said if interest rates were to rise and push us down to a minimum parameters, this would be the lowest amount of savings that could be achieved within the order. And the board has the discretion to raise or lower that amount. We felt like this was a good amount, given right around $15,000 to $18,000 a year, close to $300,000 total in savings. And really, the other option would be to wait until 2024 and see if interest rates, how they react, and then. But like I said, I think we're starting to see an upward trend, given inflation, some of the other things going on in our market, and so we thought it would be a good opportunity to put parameters in place and then watch it going forward. So. And I did want to point out at one of the bullet points on the bottom right, the district, as you are likely aware, receives state funding on its bond payments, and so any savings the district achieves, the state will get a portion of those savings based on your percentage from year to year. So we want to point that out. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions or thoughts on the numbers or process.
So why wouldn't you go any lower than that? I mean, say you sat down and talked about doing it the next day and it went to, there's only going to be 3% savings. Would you just throw that 3% savings away?
Yes, The board could certainly go lower.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just asking theoretically. I don't guess I understand why there's a,
I think in our market, typically, we start monitoring when it gets 3.5 or better, that percentage. And that percentage is a percentage of the savings of the $5 million being paid off. And it's a good way to measure a larger and a smaller refunding. When it gets to 3.5 or above, that's when we feel like it's a worthy candidate, because there's certain steps staff has to go through to go to the bond market. And this is net of financing costs, so there's certain costs. So we feel that when it gets too low, sometimes it's not worth it.
it's more expensive to do it.
Yes, sir.
I got you.
And so, and then also we look at the dollar amount. We felt like, $15,000 a year is a good dollar amount. And like I said, we could certainly go lower if you all would like. And since these aren't callable until 2024, there's really not a rush to go out and do this. So we felt like having a little higher parameter may be good, but certainly up to the board's discretion. And some districts will choose, instead of a percentage, they'll choose, we'd like to save at least $15,000 a year or something like that. You can do it that way. But currently, we set the minimum at a 4% level, and that results to that $18,000 or so a year, far right column.
Anybody else have any questions? Yeah.
I don't know.
And it takes probably, I'd say, 3-4 weeks from our end to get ready to where we can really be ready to lock in the rates when the time's right. There's some steps that have to occur before now and then. So if the board acts tonight, it wouldn't happen tomorrow.
And so it's 6 months the expiration. So basically, for 6 months, y'all will watch it, and
Yes,
if it doesn't really do anything, then you just leave it like it is.
And you can always come back and pass another one if you like, another 6 months. Typically, if the board approves it, we try to get in and be ready as quickly as possible, just to be ready.
So kind of what is the expense on our side?
It's net of the expenses, so it's $5.7 million, and there'll be advisor, bond attorney. Anytime you issue bond in the state of Texas, you have to pay bond attorney. Permanent school fund, something I failed to mention. As a Texas school district, the new bonds will be AAA rated, the highest rating. If you all fail to make a bond payment, the state steps in and makes a payment, you have to pay the state back. But investors love that. Only Texas school districts have that, and it's a $1,500 more or less insurance policy through TEA. So that's built in. The Attorney General to review all bonds in the state of Texas requires a fee. There'll be a rating fee. The district will have to go to the bond rating process. And so all in, that's about $80,000. But again, these savings would be net of that. And there's no out-of-pocket. For example, let's say if interest rates rise tomorrow and we do not meet the savings level, there's no out-of-pocket to the district to watch, monitor it. So.
Anybody have any? Thank you very much.
Any questions? No. Our contact's on the front, so.
Okay, all right. So, do y'all does somebody want to make a motion? We'll table to talk about it. What do y'all want to do?
Let's see why we wouldn't do it.
Somebody make a motion.
I move to approve the order authorizing the refunding bonds.
Okay, I have a motion from Logan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Chad. All in favor? No opposed? Motion carries.
Give me just a second. And Logan and Chad, right? I'm coming.
Okay, good. All right, so we will do the campus reports. Ms. Strauss, do you want to do that?
Sure. All right.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We'll watch for you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
First 3 pages have pictures of the kiddos and their 100 days of school celebration, the kindergartners. And then on page 4 is where we start pictures of our first graders who decided to have a 101st day celebration, and they did 101 Dalmatians, and they watched the movies, but they had activities that went along with 101 days of school as well. So they wanted to have their own little thing. The next page is just an attendance letter I sent out, trying to get some of our attendance numbers up. I mean, you guys know with COVID and everything else going on, attendance is just hard. I talked to parents as well about, what the rules are and what, chronic absences can do. And we're hoping with this, we're trying to get parents to send their kids even if they don't feel well, but not meeting those required symptoms to stay home. And we're going to have a little party at the end of the year, an attendance party for those kids who meet the required attendance. And so trying to give an incentive for students to be there. And so we're going to have an idea for that. We're going to keep encouraging attendance for our kids, even though it's a hard year to get people there. On the next page, we did our NWEA test in right before Christmas break, so these numbers are a little bit, it's been a while, but first page is math, and so in the blue on each, the blue bar in each group is a grade what we tested in the fall, so the very beginning of the test. And then the green bar in each grade level is where we tested in the winter time, so our December test. And then the purple is the state norm at the same time that we just tested. So we increased in every grade level, and we are either at the state norm or above in math. There's a couple, where we're just barely below, but I think we're on track to get the growth that we want to have and to be where we need to be as far as math goes for STAR tests and even just growth for the next grade level. We will test again in late April, and we'll put the next bar up here too to see where we're at as far as growth goes for that as well. We're currently, we'll go ahead and go to the next page. The next page is reading, same thing. The blue bar was our fall test, green is the winter, and then the purple is the state norm for where we should be. And we were above or right at with every grade level for reading as well. So we're doing some really good things. We're currently doing some STAR testing benchmarks to see where we need to be, where we're going to be as far as state testing goes. We still have several months worth of data to teach, and so the preliminary benchmark tests are looking really good as far as kids knowing what they need to know for the STAR test, and the teachers are working on their groups to show where they need to be working on, where they have some gaps, and so the data is looking really good for our STAR testing for those grade levels as well. Our teachers are working really hard and they're pushing the kids, and we are seeing a lot of kids. We've had a lot of kids come in this year that have either never been in school or haven't been in school in a while, and so that's been really a hard challenge to fight against. We've had a lot of kids that have been in homeschool starting to come back, and so we do have some challenges we're facing. Kids coming into first grade that don't know letters and don't know numbers, don't know the difference between letters and numbers. And so there's struggles, but our teachers are really stepping up to try to meet those challenges. Any questions about data before I move on?
It's very easy to see the way you did it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard for us.
Well, I had a couple different graphs, and I was like, that one to me is the most pleasing to the eye, and you can tell where they're at. So what we'll do is the next time we test, we'll just add a bar to that graph, and then where you'll be able to see all the tests.
I like the colors. Easy for me.
So what are the numbers on the left-hand side?
That's a good question. The numbers on the left-hand side it's a score where the kids should be at in each grade level. So of course, as the grades go up, their standard score goes up, and it's not based on anything. It's a standard deviation score. It doesn't meet like a normal scoring, but yeah. I should have written down the scores where they should be, but I figure the bars kind of tell you. Like kinder, math, they should be right at 150 in where we're at now, but we were a little above that, so. I can bring the score chart. It's a huge chart that we have to watch. Each grade level is different, and
This is good.
Okay,
The kiss rule.
I was trying to help you out. Make it easy. We have a lot of stuff going on, upcoming events on the next chart. Of course, we went ahead and decided to do Valentine's parties on Friday because it's a crazy day. Valentine's Day, it's very hard to even get anything going on at school, but we are doing PTO pictures and Valentine's parties. Then on February 16th, next Wednesday, we have 4th grade doing an NAEP testing. We didn't get a choice on this. It's a test that we're required. You're randomly selected and you're told you're going to do this test for the federal government. And so we're doing math and reading, and half the kids are randomly selected to do math and half are going to do a reading test. And they bring people in. They bring their own Chromebooks, they bring their own proctors. We can't be in the rooms when they're doing the testing, and it's from the feds to see how we're doing in reading and math, and it's all across the country, and I really don't know a lot about it, but I think they take the data just to see how we're comparing nationwide. And so some of us got to do that, and then some people got to do like a STAR test, right? Like a writing or are y'all doing that?
Next week, it's reading.
Yeah.
Reading/writing.
Yeah.
Short answers.
So we're doing a Fed test next week, and I don't know if we get results or how that works, but that's what we're doing.
It's just 4th grade?
Just 4th grade, yes. We're gonna have another college day, and we are gonna celebrate February 22nd, 2022. We're going to have Tuesday, and we're going to dress up and be silly on the day too, and because the kids have to have something fun with all this other crazy stuff going on. And you can see everything else we're doing. And we are going to try to, with our new PE teacher, we talked today, and we did put on our calendar, we're going to try to get the track and field day going this year. So we think that'll be fun. We haven't had one of those in a long time. Either weathers have been an issue or COVID, and she's all for it, and so we're talking about getting those events planned and getting high school kids to come help, conduct the events like they did in past years, and that way parents can come out and see their kids do something fun too at the end of the year.
They always have a good time doing that.
They do.
They love
do.
that.
Yeah, it's fun. And Coach Moose is going to be he's going to show her and the kids how to do all the events. So he's going to go in there and work with them and show them how to do the events, because she wasn't really sure how to tell them to properly do those events. And so it's hard to get high school kids over or coaches over, but he can do that part, and then our high school kids can help run the events here at the track meet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody have any questions, comments? Sounds great. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Pearson.
All right. Mr. Sandoval pull it up. The first thing's just some of the upcoming events. Today's the last junior high basketball game. They're over in Brew right now. The Stars over there watching our kids play as well. I was a day off on the student council going to the district meeting. It's actually on Wednesday, and they're going to Amarillo. It's going to be a big convention that they're having at the Civic Center. We're going to end up finally having a UNL Awards assembly for all the kids that ended up getting medals, ribbons, everything else. This has been so fast and furious, I just had to put a time and get it done. Next week, we're finishing off our interim assessments, and I'll get more to that here in a second with social studies and science. And on the 15th, which I didn't have a chance to put it down, it's our field test for the 7th grade. They're doing their reading / short answers, the new stuff that the state's going to be looking at. We really have no idea what it's going to look like, when we're going to get any results or anything. The only thing we've seen so far is we have to treat it just like a STAR test. So we're going to have the teachers that are going to be presenting the test, proctoring it. They're going to have to go through the STAR training again, just to make sure everybody's up to date and current. So we'll be getting that going on the 15th. Then we got our spring sports pictures that are going to be coming up. If you would, just scroll on down, Felix. Just some of the things that are happening. Just our art class for Coach Brewer, they did some abstract drawings, and those are pictures of themselves, which were very interesting. So the kids enjoyed themselves putting everything up. I'm kind of a drive-by picture taker, so I see them doing stuff. I ain't never grabbing their picture. Keep on going. We got some of the basketball shots, boys and girls going through. They've been doing a great job. They've fought hard this year. They've had some ups and downs, but that's junior high basketball. Keep on going, Felix. Got some more of the bottle projects. There was no way to get them all over here. There's just so many of them. Those kids did such a great job. Next one. Todd and Miss Beth were just talking to her GT kids, get ready for the next GT project, giving them instructions, telling them what they were going to be doing. The next project is going to be related to math. Underneath that is our new life skills teacher, Miss Glosson. She's been working with those kids really well, getting them more active, posting stuff out in the hallways for others to see. This one was, a brain break, things they're thankful for, things that they enjoy about school and everything else. So they did a good job. Keep on going. At this point, this is from the state, so I couldn't end up getting any good colors. So the results that we actually got back by the time I put this together was the 7th and 8th grade interim assessment for the STAR. Some of this stuff is stuff that has been taught, some of it has not been taught. All this stuff is based on probability. If you scroll on down, Felix, to the 4th page, keep going, right here. This is where kind of I had to end up writing some numbers down and they didn't come all the way through. We ended up having 55 students take the test just because some were out with COVID and couldn't end up doing it. The thing that I was looking at is I'm going, these numbers aren't that good. But I ended up looking at the percentages. Last year, these guys that are 7th graders, remember they were 6th grade, 23 of them did not meet approaches. They failed. At this point with the projections, not anywhere that was somebody projected at 50% or above, I include them as a good chance of getting the approaches. So looking at the numbers, that number is going to drop from 23 that did not to closer to 13. So percentage-wise, as 6th graders, it was 61% of the approaches. The new number is closer to 76 of the approach. 39 it meets. Last year, closer to 45% this year. 16% mastered last year, close to 27%. Now again, this is all probability, so it makes me optimistically hopeful, especially since we haven't taught them everything. And we still got a few more months to go, so keep on bringing people up, keep on bringing people up, keep on bringing people up. Scroll on down, Felix, and keep on going. This is the 8th grade. You keep on going, all the way down to the last page. Right there. Now on this one, again, numbers aren't looking at it first, not necessarily great. But last year's 7th graders, we only had 50% that ended up getting approaches. Based on the probabilities, we're closer to 62.5%. 27 met the standards last year, probability of 37 this year. 18% mastered last year, 7th graders, a probability of 31% this year mastered. So they're working hard. Last year we had 23 that failed it. Right now, probability 18. So we're getting closer and getting closer. Still waiting on the other results. This is one of the new programs that they're doing and we're using for the testing because the Texas switched on us and then went with somebody different. It's the scoring system, the actual program itself where we have to go and look through stuff. Ms. Broadus has been looking through it, and it takes her for a long time just because it's so complicated and looking through it. So we've gotten the math that we're waiting to just print off the results on, the rest of the reading. And like I said, next week we're going to be getting the social studies and the science done, along with the field tests. So we're doing a bunch of testing to see where these guys are at, what we need to work on, who we need to continue to push to work on getting better. A lot of stuff, like I said, a bunch of numbers, but this is what SET gives.
Of the ones that are struggling, are they making improvement as well, or?
And with this, it's kind of hard to see because I gotta go back and
Well,
look
like-
at each individual one.
Like, you know, I mean, you know who it is.
Yes.
What are they?
The ones that, yeah, I hate to say, the ones that, yeah. But we've been able to pull up some that needed to be pulled up.
Okay.
Any progress, that's good. So, all right, does anybody have any other questions? All right, and I know Mr. Vanderpool is.
Mr. Vanderpool is in Stinnett. He's the admin and duty on our playing game. With our girls basketball, winner gets in the playoffs tonight. We were up 16-15 after the first quarter. And so maybe we'll continue, the winner gets to play Panhandle. So the next, probably Monday or Tuesday, they haven't set a time on that game yet. So that's where he's at. And so he was gonna video himself, giving his report. I told him there wasn't a need for that, and since he gave us. I told Richard earlier, it's not having him and Wiggins here, knock 45 minutes off our meeting. So.
I have that on record.
We can flood his mailbox with any questions.
Yeah. Okay, and he did attach the things, so.
And I know there's some, he didn't put it in here. They've been having Saturday school for attendance. All the ones that he's assigned for Saturday school have showed up to make up time. He's been meeting with parents, making calls there, doing the best he can. I mean, we've had several kids out with COVID here in the last month, and so that's kind of hurt us. But, you know, I know all the administrators have been working hard trying to get the attendance up. You know, TEA keeps telling us that they're going to do something to help us. You can't even put in a waiver right now. They've got it shut down. So anyway, they are doing some benchmark tests. That's why we added the extra row of tables in here tonight. It's in the morning. U.S. History will give their benchmark test, and then they're going to give it for all the other STAR tests at the high school as well in the next week or so. And so I know that's going on as well, and I didn't see that in his report, so.
Okay, does anybody have any comment or anything possible? Let's see. On the athletic director. I know he put his report into.
And he's in Groover. The junior high had their last game tonight, so he's up there. The boys play at Stratford tomorrow night, and then they finish up their regular season on Friday at home against Sunray. Right now, it looks like that as long as we can take care of business against Sunray, that we'll end up probably third. Not sure who will play yet. That other district still determining that. Also, realignment happened this last Thursday. It did change for football. We lost Olton and Boys Ranch, and we added Stratford and Highland Park. In basketball, we added Booker, who came up from 1A to 2A. And so, and then in volleyball, they split. Used to, the 1A and 2As were in a big district, and now they've split them from the beginning, so there's a 1A and a 2A district. And so there's 5 teams, I believe, in that. And so.
See, softball started, or did they get to?
They didn't get to play. They've been practicing. Baseball and softball have both been practicing, and so they'll get to start as soon as we're able to get outside. So they've been outside a few days when we had nice days, and so now we're just waiting to dry up. So the guy that's working on our fields has assured me that they're going to get this done. Just to give you all a heads up, I have contacted the lawyer, the school lawyer, because because the guy's been kind of dragging his feet. And so, if we don't get it done pretty quick, then, well, I may be contacting you to move forward in that aspect. But he's assured me they're gonna make it right, get it done. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, it'll dry out to where we can get that done, so.
Do we have a baseball game this weekend here?
I don't believe, is there
Or is it
one?
at the end? Maybe it's at the end of the month.
No, I think it's at the end. I think their first one is the 26th, I believe. I think it's the 26th. So,
But then there's no softball because they're going to the health center and.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, because their field did not look great.
No, no.
Anybody have anything else about athletics? No? And, I don't know, Mark, you got anything? You got anything? Nothing? Nothing? You just came to enjoy the meeting?
Sure. I don't always get to hang out with these people very much, so
That's right. I'm sure you don't ever see these people.
no.
So, well, we appreciate the job y'all are doing. I noticed the other day when we were at the little kids basketball, there was some comments how good the facilities look and all that, so I did hear that. Okay. Anybody have anything else?
Thanks for coming out
Yeah.
on Saturday.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, there's nothing like waiting for sewer water. But we gave it a good shot, but the plumber, we ended up having to call a plumber. It was more than our sewer machine expertise goes. So,
The
but
part
it's
I
all,
saw looked good. I didn't see that part, so.
yes, so, but it's all squared away and functioning as it should,
Good.
downhill.
Logan couldn't read the sign.
All right. If that's all, I'm going to call us into closed session
You gotta do
I thought, oh, did I skip it?
Yep. You can skip mine, because apparently I can't even put mine in here.
Where did I skip it? Hold on, I was getting excited. I thought we was done.
Mark,
Okay.
I was gonna say, I saw a bunch of you guys working late, cleaning the parking lots, doing that. Thank y'all for that.
Yeah, it looks great.
Still a wee bit slick, but you can only do what you can only do.
Okay, there we are. Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. Okay, so let's do Mr. Hine.
Okay, on our quarterly investment reports, or quarterly/annual, so it's through December. If you look at the annual investment summary, you'll see on our $1 million we have out in Techstar, we made $185 for the entire year. Yeah, so it's down to about $9 a month is what we're making on $1 million. So but the interest rates have started to rise. Like, on our refinancing, if you'll notice the difference between what he was saying, like 300,000, and the emails I sent you guys were like 400,000, it's because in the last week, interest rates have come up almost a point. And those interest rates aren't the same as our investments interest rates. Those are long-term, these are short-term rates, but both of them are starting to fluctuate. We do expect to see the short-term rates that are in our investments start to rise rapidly because of the inflation that we're all experiencing. They said that they're going to raise the rates 4 times this year, and then recently they've been talking about doing it more often than that. If they do that, then we'll start actually getting some return on our investment money. Right now I have, as you can see, we cashed in the CD so that we could pay for the construction. Then the construction ended up stretching over a longer period. We still probably had to cash in the CD because I've got about $1.5 million in the savings account. I'm actually getting a little bit better interest than our Techstar, so I've left that in our savings account, $1.5 million extra. So that $1.5 million isn't on the savings report because it's just in the bank. So we still are at about 2.5. I did a cash flow analysis, and it's up a little bit. One of the things that's helping us out is ESSER monies. we're paying for some of our salaries with ESSER monies. And so, like last time I talked to you, I thought that we were gonna end at about 2.9 this year in our fund balance, as everything currently stands. It's up to about 3,155, so 3,155,000. So that's a close to $300,000 swing so far. Most of that is because of ESSER monies, that it's replaced expenditures. So really, there's not much to talk about on the investment side. Until rates come up, I mean, they're just holding our money for us. We're not really getting anything. But eventually rates will come back up. Those of you who've been on the board for a long time, you remember we used to make our technology purchases on our interest from our CDs. And, you know, we get $40,000, $50,000 a year in interest, and we don't right now. So, but that, hopefully that will return at some point. On the finance report, one of the numbers that you've heard a bunch of people mention trying to get attendance up. And a good reason for that is our ADA. So our ADA since Christmas is well under 600, like 580, 590. Our average for the year is still at 611. That's pretty low. So this last month we've had a lot of absences. It's really hurting our ADA. Good news. So it's funny, the state, or where we get our information on COVID numbers, actually the state, they no longer report the number of cases a day. But the Texas Tribune is still tracking that, and they have seen a significant reduction, a 33% reduction in the past week in the number of cases reported in the state. So hopefully that's a trend we'll see here locally as well, and we'll start getting our attendance up. If our refined ADA keeps dropping, then we're going to have to, you know, like Mr. Garrison said, the commissioner every other Thursday we meet with the commissioner. And for the last, I don't know, 2-3 times, the commissioner said, hey, we're going to do something about this low ADA. And in the past, what they did about low ADA really didn't affect us because our ADA was higher than they had anticipated. I mean, we're down into numbers now that if they give us a helping hand, it'll probably will help us. And it's, I mean, because, yeah, this last month has been rough on our ADA. But we hope that'll increase. Looking at the summary, we're still right about where we should be in both revenue and expenditures. In the detail, you'll see that the 41 expenditures went up significantly this last month. That was the final payment on our separation agreement, so that has been made now. So that was a significant expenditure. So if you compare last month's 41 expenditures to this month's 41 expenditures, you're like, wow, you guys spent a lot. Well, yeah, we did. So other than that, I think that's what I have for you right now. Do you have any questions on investments or on our finances?
So are we getting more ESSER's money back?
Well, I mean, it was all total. It was about $1 million, but it's spread out over a 3 or 4 year time frame. So, I mean, you know, we've done the. If you remember to the previous meetings, we talked about the plan on what it's paying for, like the control switch over for the HVAC is one of the big expenditures, which that's in process. And that's also adding the stuff to take particulates out of the air as well. Chromebooks was a big purchase, which we have made that purchase. It pays for, we added a couple of counselors right at when COVID started or right after COVID, and so it pays for their salaries as well. It's paying for some of my computer guys. Pays for Felix's salary because he takes care of all the Chromebooks that we bought for the kids, and plus a little bit of one of my networking guys' salary. So I'm trying to think. That's and some of the software for the elementary for the loss learning to help us catch back up, and I think some of the software at the junior high as well, if memory serves me right. So those are the various things. I mean, we won't get any new money, but it'll still be around through the next 2 years, I think. Now, there's a huge reporting requirement. I've been whining to Mr. Garrison about how much time I'm gonna have to spend reporting about all of this. So the reporting requirement's just starting to hit. No money is free money, and so the amount of time it's taken, it's amusing to me. The Corey Green from the TEA said on the training webinar last night that your districts are going to have to add staff to handle this reporting requirements. Like we're going to add staff to do that. I mean, it's crazy. So I mean, it is helping us. It's helping us recruit some money, but it is gonna take up a lot of time from now on. So I hope that answered your question.
It did. Thank you.
How did, and I don't know, maybe Mrs. Souls can answer this, but how did the elementary and everything handle the cold spell?
Well,
Did it go well?
yes,
Everybody stayed warm and no problems?
no,
Nothing?
no. The only thing is this afternoon, about 2:30, a huge chunk of ice slid off the corner of the roof where it's the V right behind my office. It scared me because it hit the ground and then a big puddle of water splashed all over my window, and I wasn't prepared for that, but everything's dry inside, so that's great.
That's good.
I will say this, 4 of my teachers were at Reading Academy right before the cold spell. I guess it was cold somewhere else, whatever the case was. A principal, I guess, that was there kept leaving and came back and finally told my teachers, I'm so sorry to keep leaving the table, but we just had a water line bust in our school and they were having to deal with the emergency. And she said, I'm just telling you right now, I'm so sorry that you're having to deal with that. We've been through that. And so they were, whatever school that was about to start going through the water line busting in the school issues. They were feeling bad for them.
Yeah. Well,
But we're dry and we're good.
We did everything we could. You know, in the previous repairs to elementary, every single external line we switched from a metal line to PEX. So we were fairly confident that those wouldn't freeze. We raised the temperature up on all the thermostats during those really frigid nights and mornings. We raised them up to a higher setting. So like 76 is about what I set all the buildings at. So just to try to offset it. So I was pretty happy. I really didn't want to go through another flood.
I kind of worried. About it because it was cold.
I did too. I mean, it's a concern, but I think we handled it well. We had a couple of thermostats that kind of went crazy on us during the cold spell. Like it was 104 in here. It just started calling for heat and never stopped. And there was another location had a similar problem during those couple of cold days. So yeah, but
we got through it.
Got through it. Yeah, and I will say that the maintenance guys did a wonderful job on the cleaning the snow. I have to echo everybody's what we've said, that I couldn't have asked for better. So.
That's good. All right.
Well,
I know, I'm like, did I skip something
no,
else?
you didn't. I don't know what I didn't notice until just now, or just a minute ago, that for whatever reason I've got it, and so I'll send it out to you. A few things. I went to Midwinter last Sunday, a week ago this last Sunday, and down in Austin, and there were some very good speakers down there. One that really, honestly, probably one of the better speakers that I have seen that, talked about really things that I think we can do in our school and how he approached things, and it was really good. And so it was worth the time going down there. We do have the Panhandle School Leaders Association that's coming Wednesday. I know Mrs. Searles and Mr. Pearson are planning on attending that. Mr. Vanderpool's going to do it via Zoom. And so we're going to go to that. And then I have my superintendent roundtable after that to meet with my mentor, get my hours in there. And so the report that I had, I'll get that out to y'all. I'll email it, and I'll email it to you too, Tara. So I don't know what I did. So it was a long week last week. I hate the snow. I'll give you that. I did a lot of driving around. Wow.
Okay. Let's set a date for next month. Even though we don't like to do Wednesdays, it's kind of, that's about the only day I think that half of us can make it right now. So let's kind of look at some Wednesdays. Sorry we're switching it back on you, but gotta have a quorum, so. So do we want to do the 9th?
Yeah, because the next week is spring break.
Yeah, I won't be here. Surely most of us won't be here. Is the 9th good?
You use spring break?
I do. I don't know about you.
9 works for me.
Good for me.
Okay, so let's do Wednesday, March 9th at 6 o'clock. Let's see. When do things have to be done?
That right, Tom?
Oh,
12th is on the deadline, right?
yeah,
It'll be Saturday.
that Friday, is that Friday the 12th?
That's
Saturday.
Okay, no, it's gonna be Friday,
The 11th.
11,
But we
5
don't,
p.m.
we just need a couple of people to move for count, or for drawing, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if we need it.
If we need it, yeah. Okay.
I've got applications put in.
Okay. All right. Anybody think of anything else we need to? We'll kind of get together since we did the resolution for the bond. We need to think about our days that we want to have our meetings. We're going to do some town hall meetings. We're going to do some meetings. We're going to twist Tara's arm and have her help us with some lives maybe. And we'll kind of all get together and figure out where we need to be in some different places. And so we'll get that out there. So let me know y'all's thoughts. Just email me or text me or something. And we'll get that done. Other than that, that's all in mind. So I'm going to call us into closed session to discuss personnel, Government Code 551.071, discussion regarding administrator contracts. At 7:20.
Back in.
No?
Okay, call us back in to order at 7:54. Okay, Mr. Garrison?
Yes, ma'am. What is it? What am I saying here?
Recommendation?
Recommendation for certified term contracts for Kim Searles, Jennifer Card, Houston Moose through the 2023-2024 school year.
Okay, I have a recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve certified administrator term contracts, Kim Searles, Jennifer Card, Houston Moose through the 2023-2024 school year.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Seconded. Logan? Okay. I didn't hear who it was. All right, all in favor? No opposed, motion carries.
Okay, I recommend a certified administrator term contract to Stephen Vanderpool for the 2022-2023 school year through the 2023-2024 school year.
Okay, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve a certified administrator term contract to Stephen Vanderpool for the 2022, 2023, and 2023, 2024 school years.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Second from Mike. All in favor? No opposed, motion carries.
All right, I recommend a certified administrator / coach dual term contract through 2023-2024 school year for Philip Wiggins.
I have a recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve a certified administrator coach dual term contract through the 2023-2024 school year for Philip Wiggins.
Okay, we have a motion by Logan. I have a second. Billy? All in favor? No opposed, motion carries.
All right, I recommend a non-certified administrator contract to the 2023-2024 school year for Richard Hine.
Okay, I have a recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve a non-certified administrator contract through the 2023-2024 school year for Richard Hine.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Logan. All in favor? No opposed, motion carries. And I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:57.
Second.
Second from Billy. All in favor? No opposed, motion carries.
Okay, I wanted to tell you that I said February 11th.
No.
Was the due date, but it's February 18th at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
I went back there and looked at the calendar. Did I say that?
Yeah.
I really wasn't